Hey there, quantum enthusiasts! Welcome back to our series, The History and the Future of Everything Quantum Related. Today, we're diving into Part 8, where we'll continue to explore this fascinating world in its entirety.
Cryptonyms are used to obscure the identity of people, operations, or concepts, often for security, confidentiality, or strategic purposes. The history of cryptonyms spans various fields, including military operations, intelligence, business, and even popular culture. So, let's explore the history and significance of cryptonyms together. Did you know that cryptonyms have their roots in ancient civilizations? Cryptic language and coded messages can be traced back to ancient civilizations. For instance, the ancient Egyptians used hieroglyphs to communicate secretly. In the medieval period, ciphers were used to encode messages, and during the Renaissance, cryptography was a popular hobby among scholars. In the modern era, cryptonyms have become an essential tool in the world of espionage and military operations. They're used to protect sensitive information and maintain secrecy. In business, cryptonyms are used to protect trade secrets and intellectual property. And in popular culture, cryptonyms have found their way into fictional universes, adding an extra layer of intrigue and mystery.
Did you know that the history of conspiracy theories is rich and complex, spanning centuries and encompassing a wide range of topics from political events to societal fears? Let's take a closer look at the evolution of conspiracy theories, highlighting key periods and notable examples. First up, let's talk about the early origins of conspiracy theories. Did you know that they've been around since antiquity? Often rooted in political intrigue or religious conflict, these theories have shaped our understanding of history and society. For example, the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE was shrouded in conspiracy theories, with many believing that it was a plot orchestrated by powerful individuals. As we move through history, we see conspiracy theories pop up in various forms. From the medieval period to the Renaissance, from the Enlightenment to the modern era, these theories have played a significant role in shaping our understanding of the world around us. So, there you have it, folks. A brief overview of the evolution of conspiracy theories. Did you know that this area of our brain plays a crucial part in impulse control and emotional regulation? You see, the ACC is responsible for helping us manage our desires and impulses, as well as regulating our emotions. But what happens when this area isn't functioning properly? Well, it can lead to difficulties in controlling our desires and impulses, potentially resulting in materialistic behaviors. So, the next time you find yourself tempted by the latest gadget or the hottest new fashion trend, remember that it could be your ACC at work. This tiny structure, located deep within our brain, plays a crucial role in our behavior, emotions, and motivation. The nucleus accumbens is part of the reward system, and it's where dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is released. This release of dopamine is what makes us feel good, and it's the reason we seek out pleasurable activities. Interestingly, the nucleus accumbens is also involved in our emotions and memory. It's where we store our emotional memories, and it's been linked to the development of addictions and other compulsive behaviors. An overactive nucleus accumbens may lead to an increased desire for material possessions, as individuals may become more motivated by the anticipated pleasure of acquiring new things. So, the next time you're feeling motivated, remember to thank your nucleus accumbens for keeping you going. The amygdala is responsible for a lot of things, but one of its primary roles is in emotional processing. It's the region that helps us evaluate rewards and threats, making it crucial in our day-to-day lives. But here's the thing, when the amygdala gets overactive, it can lead to some interesting behaviors. For example, if it's overactive, you might find yourself becoming more emotionally invested in material possessions. You might even rely on these possessions for emotional satisfaction or security. So, the next time you're out shopping and find yourself drawn to that shiny new gadget, remember that it could be your amygdala at work. MKUltra, also known as Project MKUltra, was a secret research program run by the Central Intelligence Agency CIA in the United States. The program began in the early 1950s and was officially discontinued in the late 1960s. Its primary goal was to develop and test methods for controlling and manipulating human behavior, including mind control, interrogation, and behavior modification. The program involved a wide range of activities, from testing LSD and other psychoactive substances on unwitting participants to conducting covert operations in foreign countries. Some of the most notorious experiments involved the use of hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and other techniques to alter the minds of individuals. It's important to note that the history of MK Ultra is a sensitive topic, and it's crucial to approach it with respect and understanding. The program's legacy is a reminder of the potential dangers of unchecked government power and the importance of safeguarding human rights. Did you know that the history of hypnosis is rich and multifaceted, encompassing ancient practices, scientific exploration, and evolving therapeutic applications? Let's take a chronological overview of the development and understanding of hypnosis. First up, we have the ancient practices. Did you know that early trances were prevalent in prehistoric and ancient civilizations? Shamanism, for instance, was a practice that ancient cultures used to achieve trance-like states for healing, spiritual communication, and divination. Shamans would enter altered states of consciousness to access spiritual realms and communicate with spirits. Next, we have the scientific exploration of hypnosis. In the 18th century, Franz Mesmer, an Austrian physician, introduced the concept of animal magnetism, which laid the foundation for modern hypnosis. Mesmer believed that all living beings were connected by a universal magnetic force and that illnesses could be cured through the manipulation of this force. Then, we have the evolution of hypnosis as a therapeutic application. In the 19th century, James Braid, a Scottish surgeon, coined the term hypnotism and developed a systematic approach to inducing trances. Braid's work paved the way for the modern understanding of hypnosis as a tool for therapeutic intervention. Finally, in the 20th century, hypnosis became more widely accepted in the medical community, with applications in pain management, anxiety reduction, and even in the treatment of certain addictions. This complex system plays a crucial role in our daily lives, regulating our mood, motivation, and reward-seeking behaviors. The dopaminergic system is a network of neurons that use dopamine as their primary neurotransmitter. It's responsible for the release of dopamine in response to rewards or pleasurable experiences. When we experience something enjoyable, our dopaminergic system kicks into gear, releasing dopamine and creating a sense of satisfaction. This system is also involved in our ability to learn and remember, as well as our motor control. Understanding the dopaminergic system can help us better understand and manage conditions like Parkinson's disease, addiction, and even some mental health disorders. Dysregulation of the dopaminergic system can enhance the pursuit of immediate rewards, leading to increased materialistic behaviors as individuals seek the pleasurable feelings associated with acquiring new items. So, the next time you feel a rush of satisfaction, remember that it's all thanks to the amazing dopaminergic system at work in your brain. Did you know that the understanding of brain diseases has evolved significantly over time, influenced by advancements in medical knowledge, technology, and societal attitudes? Let's take a chronological overview of this intriguing topic. First up, let's travel back to prehistoric and ancient civilizations. Early humans likely recognized that injuries to the head could lead to changes in behavior which might have been attributed to supernatural causes. In ancient Egypt, for example, head injuries were believed to be caused by the god of chaos. Fast forward to the ancient Greeks, who made significant strides in understanding brain diseases. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, described various brain disorders and their symptoms. He even recognized the importance of the brain in human thought and behavior. As we move into the Middle Ages, we see a shift in understanding. Brain diseases were often attributed to supernatural causes such as demonic possession. It wasn't until the 18th century that scientific understanding began to take hold, with pioneers like Franz Joseph Gall and Pierre-Paul Broca advancing our understanding of the brain and its functions. Today, we have a much more comprehensive understanding of brain diseases, thanks to advancements in medical technology and research. It's fascinating to see how our understanding has evolved over time. Did you know that the prefrontal cortex, located at the front of your brain, plays a crucial role in your daily life? It's responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and future planning. But what happens when this region isn't functioning properly? Well, impaired functioning in the prefrontal cortex can lead to some interesting behaviors. For example, individuals with impaired prefrontal cortex function may exhibit impulsive behaviors, such as excessive spending and a strong desire for material possessions. Why? Because they may struggle to consider the long-term consequences of their actions. So, the next time you find yourself reaching for that shiny new gadget or splurging on a luxurious vacation, remember that it could be your prefrontal cortex at work. This journey, spanning prehistoric times to the present day, is a testament to our collective curiosity and thirst for knowledge. So, let's begin our chronological overview, highlighting key milestones in this journey. In the prehistoric and ancient times, early humans exhibited a natural curiosity, often through observation and exploration of their surroundings. This curiosity laid the foundation for the development of philosophy, science, religion, and art. Fast forward to the classical era where philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle began to ponder the nature of reality, ethics, and the cosmos. During the Middle Ages, the rise of Christianity and the growth of Islam led to a shift in understanding with a focus on faith and spirituality. The Renaissance marked a significant turning point as humanism and scientific inquiry began to flourish. The Age of Enlightenment furthered this trend, with thinkers like Descartes, Locke, and Newton advancing our understanding of the physical world. In the modern era, we've seen the rise of scientific disciplines, technological advancements, and the exploration of the cosmos. We've also witnessed the development of social sciences, psychology, and the understanding of human behavior. Did you know that these deviations in the Earth's magnetic field can reveal a lot about our planet's history and geology? Magnetic anomalies were first observed by ancient civilizations, including the Greeks and Chinese, who noticed the magnetic properties of certain minerals. Over time, scientists began to understand the concept of magnetism and its applications. One of the most significant discoveries was the realization that the Earth itself is a giant magnet. This understanding has led to the study of magnetic anomalies, which can help us understand the Earth's geological processes, such as the movement of tectonic plates and the formation of volcanoes. Magnetic anomalies have also played a crucial role in archaeology, helping us locate ancient artifacts and even entire cities. For example, the discovery of the ancient city of Pompeii was made possible by magnetic anomalies. So, the next time you hear about a magnetic anomaly, remember that it's not just a quirky fact, it's a window into our planet's history and a valuable tool for understanding our world. Melanin memory. Now, you might be wondering, what is melanin memory and how does it relate to our overall health? Well, let's find out. Melanin memory is a concept that suggests that melanin, a pigment found in various organisms, particularly in skin, hair, and eyes, may have functions beyond its well-known role in coloration. Some theories suggest that melanin could play a role in memory storage and cognitive functions, particularly in the context of neuroscience and holistic health. While the term is not widely recognized in scientific literature, it often appears in discussions around alternative health, spirituality, and metaphysics. Now, it's important to note that while this concept is intriguing, it's still largely speculative and not backed by concrete scientific evidence. However, it's always fascinating to explore new ideas and theories that could potentially impact our understanding of health and wellness. Did you know that the concept of entropy has a rich history, evolving from early ideas about heat and energy to a fundamental principle in thermodynamics, statistical mechanics, and information theory? Entropy was first introduced in the 19th century by Rudolf Clausius, who coined the term entropy in 1865. Clausius's work built upon the earlier caloric theory, which posited that heat was a fluid that flowed from hotter to colder bodies. However, Clausius's work went beyond the caloric theory. He recognized that heat is not a substance but rather a form of energy. He also understood that energy is not created or destroyed, but rather it can be converted from one form to another. Clausius's work laid the foundation for the concept of entropy, which he defined as the ratio of the heat absorbed by a system to the temperature at which the heat is absorbed. This definition has since been refined, but it's a testament to Clausius's groundbreaking work. This fundamental concept in thermodynamics is all about understanding the state in which two or more systems in thermal contact no longer exchange energy, resulting in a uniform temperature throughout the systems involved. The history of thermal equilibrium is closely tied to the development of thermodynamics and our understanding of heat transfer. Let's take a closer look at its historical context. Early concepts of heat and temperature. Ancient understanding in pre-17th century. Thermal equilibrium was first conceptualized by ancient civilizations who recognized the importance of heat and temperature in their daily lives. For example, the ancient Greeks observed that hot objects cooled down when placed in cold environments, while cold objects warmed up when placed in hot environments. The 17th century, the concept of thermal equilibrium gained traction in the 17th century as scientists like Robert Boyle and Isaac Newton began to explore the relationship between heat and temperature. They proposed that heat was a form of energy that could be transferred between objects. In the 18th century, scientists like Joseph Black and Antoine Lavoisier continued to refine our understanding of heat and temperature. They introduced the concept of latent heat, which is the energy required to change the state of a substance, such as from solid to liquid or liquid to gas. The 19th century saw a significant leap in our understanding of thermal equilibrium thanks to the work of scientists like James Joule, who demonstrated that heat and work were interchangeable, and Rudolf Clausius, who introduced the concept of entropy. This theory, which is a part of cosmology, describes a potential end state of the universe characterized by a state of maximum entropy. The heat-death theory suggests that the universe will eventually reach a state of thermal equilibrium, leading to a cessation of all physical processes. This scenario is based on the principle of entropy, which is the measure of disorder or randomness in a system. The heat-death theory was first proposed by the British physicist and mathematician William Thomson, who is also known as Lord Kelvin. He believed that the universe was finite and would eventually run out of energy, leading to the cessation of all physical processes. This theory has been a subject of debate and discussion among scientists and philosophers for centuries. Some argue that the heat-death theory is a valid explanation for the end of the universe, while others believe that the universe will continue to evolve and change indefinitely. So, what do you think? Is the heat-death theory a plausible explanation for the end of the universe? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This intriguing model suggests that after the universe's expansion, it could eventually reverse and collapse back into a singularity. The Big Crunch is just one of several hypotheses about the ultimate fate of the universe, alongside the Big Freeze and the Big Rip. To understand the origins of this theory, we need to go back to 1915 and the foundational work of Albert Einstein. Einstein's groundbreaking general theory of relativity laid the groundwork for the Big Crunch theory. This theory proposes that the universe is expanding, but it's not infinite. Instead, it suggests that the universe will eventually contract and collapse back into a singularity. The Big Rip theory, a cosmological model that proposes an end-of-universe scenario. This theory suggests that as dark energy's influence increases over time, it will eventually tear apart galaxies, stars, planets, and even atomic structures. The Big Rip is just one of several potential end-of-universe hypotheses, alongside the Big Crunch and heat death. So, let's take a closer look at the history and development of the Big Rip theory. The foundations of this theory can be traced back to Einstein's general theory of relativity, which was introduced in 1915. This theory proposes that the universe is expanding and that the rate of expansion is accelerating due to dark energy. As dark energy continues to increase, it will eventually overcome the force of gravity and cause the universe to rip apart. This is a fascinating concept that challenges our understanding of the universe and its potential. This now debunked pseudoscience suggested that a person's personality, character, and intelligence could be determined by the shape and size of their skull and brain. Emerging in the late 18th century, phrenology gained significant popularity in the 19th century before being dismissed as unscientific in the early 20th century. Let's break down its history. Franz Joseph Gall and the origins of phrenology in late 1700s. This German physician proposed the idea that the brain was divided into 27 distinct parts, each responsible for specific mental functions. He believed that these parts could be identified by the shape and size of the skull. Johann Spurzheim and the spread of phrenology in early 1800s. This Scottish physician popularized phrenology, traveling across Europe and the United States to promote the theory. He even developed a method for measuring skulls, which was widely used in the 19th century. Phrenology in America in mid-1800s. Phrenology gained significant popularity in the United States, with many people believing in its accuracy. It was even used in court cases to determine the mental capacity of defendants. The decline of phrenology in early 1900s. As scientific methods advanced, phrenology was increasingly criticized as unscientific. By the early 20th century, it had been dismissed as a pseudoscience. And there you have it, folks. A brief history of the fascinating, yet now debunked, theory of phrenology. Did you know that TM is a form of meditation that focuses on using a specific mantra to achieve a deep state of relaxation and consciousness? It was popularized in the mid-20th century by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who introduced TM as a systematic practice that could bring peace to individuals and, by extension, to the world. Now, let's take a look at the history and development of TM. It all started with its roots in the Vedic tradition of ancient India. TM has its roots in the Vedic tradition, which is a collection of ancient Indian texts that date back to around 1500 BCE. These texts are the foundation of Hinduism, and they include the Upanishads, which are a series of philosophical and religious texts. In the Upanishads, there are references to meditation, and it's believed that the practice of TM was developed from these ancient texts. Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, a significant figure in the field of psychology and a key player in the CIA's covert operations during the Cold War. Dr. Gottlieb was born on December 20, 1918, in the Bronx, New York City. He went on to earn his bachelor's degree from the City College of New York and later obtained a Ph.D. in psychology from the University of California. Dr. Gottlieb's career in the CIA began in 1951, where he was tasked with developing covert operations and psychological warfare techniques. He was instrumental in the MKUltra program, which was a covert CIA program of research in behavioral modification and mind control. That idea that our reality might be an artificial or simulated construct. Well, this concept has evolved significantly over time, shaped by philosophy, science, technology, and pop culture. So, let's take a journey through its development, from ancient philosophy to modern-day scientific and technological considerations. First up, we have the early philosophical concepts. One of the earliest recorded ideas resembling simulation theory is Plato's allegory of the cave c. 380 BCE. In this allegory, Plato posits that our reality might be a simulation akin to prisoners in a cave who only perceive shadows on the wall. Then we have the Renaissance era, where philosophers like Descartes and Leibniz began to explore the concept of simulation more deeply. Descartes, in particular, suggested that our reality might be a simulation created by a benevolent deity. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we see the emergence of modern-day scientific and technological considerations. The concept of simulation theory has gained traction in fields like computer science, artificial intelligence, and even quantum physics. Neuronal shutdowns are often used to describe instances when neurons or groups of neurons stop functioning due to trauma, disease, or other causes. Research into this phenomenon has helped us understand various neurodegenerative diseases, brain injuries, and protective mechanisms within the brain. Let's start with the early discoveries in neuroscience spanning the 17th to 19th centuries. During this time, scientists began to understand the basic structure and function of the nervous system. They observed that certain parts of the brain, such as the cortex, could be damaged without causing immediate death. This led to the concept of neuronal shutdowns as a way to describe the cessation of neuronal activity. As our understanding of the brain continued to grow, researchers began to investigate the causes of neuronal shutdowns. They discovered that these shutdowns could be caused by trauma, disease, or other factors. This knowledge has been instrumental in understanding various neurodegenerative diseases and brain injuries. Did you know that the term paradigm shift was coined by the renowned philosopher Thomas Kuhn in his groundbreaking 1960 book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions? Kuhn used this term to describe radical changes in scientific understanding that fundamentally alter the prevailing worldview or paradigm, a conceptual framework through which scientists interpret and investigate phenomena. So, let's take a trip down memory lane and explore the history of paradigm shifts. We'll delve into how this concept has shaped both scientific and broader intellectual thought. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll uncover the fascinating stories behind some of the most significant paradigm shifts in history. This concept is a cornerstone of quantum mechanics, describing a fundamental property of particles to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Let's take a look at the history and development of quantum superposition. Quantum superposition has its roots in classical physics, which was unable to explain certain phenomena such as the behavior of light. In the late 19th century, physicists began to explore the limitations of classical physics, paving the way for quantum mechanics. In the early 20th century, physicists like Max Planck and Albert Einstein began to develop the concept of quantum mechanics. They proposed that light is composed of tiny particles called photons, which behave differently than classical particles. This led to the discovery of the photoelectric effect, where electrons are emitted from a metal surface when light shines on it. In the 1920s, Erwin Schrödinger developed the wave function, which is a mathematical representation of the quantum state of a particle. This wave function can describe a particle's position, momentum, and energy, but it can also describe a particle's quantum superposition. Quantum superposition has transformed our understanding of the microworld and has led to groundbreaking technologies such as quantum computing. So, the next time you hear about quantum superposition, remember its fascinating history and the brilliant minds who helped uncover it. It's a topic that's often misunderstood and can be quite complex, so let's explore it together. Eugenics, a term coined in the late 19th century, refers to the idea of improving the genetic quality of human populations. Initially framed as a scientific pursuit for societal betterment, eugenics ultimately led to human rights abuses, forced sterilizations, and genocide. Let's start by looking at the intellectual roots and early theories of eugenics. One of the key figures in this movement was Francis Galton, who was a cousin of Charles Darwin. Galton's work, Hereditary Genius, published in 1869, explored the idea that intelligence and other traits were inherited. Darwin's theory of evolution, published in 1859, had a significant impact on Galton's thinking. Darwin's theory suggested that species evolved through natural selection, with the fittest organisms surviving and reproducing. This idea of natural selection was later adopted by Galton and other eugenicists to justify their belief in improving the human race. So, there you have it, a brief overview of the history of eugenics. It's a topic that's often misrepresented and misunderstood, so it's important to have a clear understanding of its roots and impact. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle. Did you know that this mysterious region in the North Atlantic Ocean has been the subject of countless stories and legends for centuries? Let's take a journey back in time to uncover some of the earliest tales about the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle has its roots in the 16th and 17th centuries when sailors and explorers began reporting strange occurrences in the area between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. These stories often involved ships and sailors disappearing under mysterious circumstances, leading to a sense of unease and mystery surrounding the region. As time passed, these tales evolved and became more elaborate, with stories of ghost ships, unexplained lights, and even a mysterious island that appeared and disappeared at will. It wasn't until the 20th century that the Bermuda Triangle gained widespread attention, thanks to a series of high-profile disappearances and the publication of books exploring the phenomenon. From early theories to modern-day understanding, this journey is a testament to the power of scientific inquiry and the ever-evolving nature of our knowledge. Let's start with the early theories of the 1700s and 1800s. In 1783, John Mitchell, an English clergyman and astronomer, proposed the idea of dark stars, objects with such immense gravity that light couldn't escape. This was the first hint at what we now know as black holes. Fast forward to the 1900s, and Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity provided a framework for understanding the concept of black holes. In 1916, Karl Schwarzschild, a German astronomer, calculated the size of the Schwarzschild radius, the point at which an object's gravity becomes so strong that even light can't escape. In the 1960s, the discovery of pulsars, rapidly rotating neutron stars, provided further evidence for the existence of black holes. And in the 1970s, the first black hole candidate, Cygnus X1, was identified. Today, we continue to study black holes, using powerful telescopes and other tools to understand their properties and behavior. The history of black holes is a testament to the power of scientific curiosity and the ever-evolving nature of our knowledge. Ascension is a concept that has been interpreted in various ways throughout history. It generally refers to a process of rising or moving to a higher state of being or consciousness, both physically and spiritually. Let's explore the historical context and development of ascension in different traditions. In ancient Sumerian and Egyptian cultures, there were beliefs about the afterlife and the idea of ascension. These ancient civilizations had intricate beliefs about the afterlife and the idea of ascension. In the Sumerian and Egyptian cultures, the concept of ascension was often associated with the afterlife, where individuals would rise to a higher state of being or consciousness. In the Egyptian culture, for example, the idea of ascension was closely tied to the concept of the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that the soul would ascend to a higher state of being or consciousness after death. That's it for today's exploration of the concept of ascension across different cultures. The history of biological systems spans a rich and diverse landscape, encompassing the development of concepts and frameworks that help scientists understand the organization, function, and interactions of living organisms and their components. Let's take a quick overview of some key developments in this field. First, let's talk about ancient to medieval understandings. Did you know that ancient civilizations, such as those in Egypt, Greece, and China, began observing the natural world? Philosophers like Aristotle classified organisms based on their physical characteristics, which laid the foundation for early natural philosophy. Fast forward to the 17th century, and we see the emergence of the cell theory. This groundbreaking concept, developed by Robert Hooke and Antoni Leeuwenhoek, revolutionized our understanding of living organisms. In the 18th century, Carl Linnaeus introduced the binomial nomenclature system, which categorized organisms based on their shared characteristics. This system is still in use today. In the 19th century, Charles Darwin's theory of evolution shook the scientific world, changing the way we understand the history of life on Earth. And finally, in the 20th century, we saw the rise of molecular biology, which uncovered the inner workings of life at the molecular level. That's a quick overview of some key developments in the history of biological systems. We hope you found this information fascinating and enlightening. Crucial part of the brain that plays a pivotal role in higher-order functions. So, let's take a journey through the history of its understanding and research. The cerebral cortex has been a subject of intrigue for centuries, with its role in higher-order functions first being recognized in the 18th century. It was during this time that scientists began to understand the cortex's involvement in perception, cognition, and voluntary movement. In the 19th century, neuroanatomists like Broca and Wernicke made significant contributions to our understanding of the cortex, mapping its various regions and their functions. This laid the foundation for the modern understanding of the cortex's role in language, speech, and other cognitive processes. In the 20th century, neuroscientists like Penfield and Lashley furthered our understanding of the cortex through their pioneering research on brain function. Today, we're still uncovering new insights into the cerebral cortex, with modern neuroimaging techniques like fMRI providing a wealth of information about its structure and function. Interconnectedness is a vast and multifaceted concept that spans various fields, including philosophy, sociology, technology, and ecology. It's a concept that has been explored and discussed for centuries, and its evolution is a testament to the ever-changing nature of human understanding. Let's start with the ancient philosophies and religions. In the East, ancient philosophies, particularly in Asia, emphasized interconnectedness. For example, in Buddhism, the concept of dependent origination highlights how all things arise in relation to one another. Similarly, Taoism emphasizes the interconnectedness of all things, promoting harmony and balance. As we move into the modern era, the idea of interconnectedness has taken on new forms. With the rise of technology, we've seen the emergence of the internet, which has connected people and information like never before. The concept of ecology, which studies the relationships between organisms and their environments, has also helped us understand the interconnectedness of our natural world. The history of mazes dates back thousands of years and encompasses a variety of cultures and purposes. Here's an overview of their evolution. Minoan civilization 2000 to 1500 BCE. One of the earliest and most famous mazes is the Labyrinth of Knossos on the island of Crete, associated with the myth of the Minotaur. This structure was likely a complex series of rooms and corridors, which inspired the term labyrinth. The Egyptians created labyrinths for a variety of purposes, including protection, entertainment, and even as a way to trap enemies. These mazes were often built into pyramids and other structures. Did you know that this concept can be traced back to cognitive psychology, educational theories, and even advances in artificial intelligence? It's all about how humans naturally think in sequences or chains of connected ideas, a process that has been adapted and formalized in different domains to enhance learning, creativity, problem-solving, and, more recently, machine reasoning. Let's take a quick look at some early cognitive theories. One of the first theories was associationism, which posits that one thought triggers another in a connected sequence. This concept has been adapted and formalized in various ways to improve our understanding of human thought processes. Associationism, a concept that dates back to the 17th century, suggests that one thought can trigger another, creating a connected sequence of ideas. So, the next time you're brainstorming or problem-solving, remember that your thoughts are likely following a chain of thought prompting. It's a fascinating aspect of human cognition that has far-reaching implications in education, creativity, and even AI. Did you know that the concept of a feedback loop has roots in both nature and human-made systems, and its development spans multiple fields from biology to engineering and cybernetics? Let's take a quick journey through the history of the feedback loop. First, let's explore the early beginnings of feedback loops in nature. In the realm of biology, the idea of feedback loops can be traced back to natural processes. For instance, homeostasis in organisms, which is the maintenance of stable conditions like body temperature or blood pressure, operates through feedback mechanisms. These biological systems provide a solid foundation for understanding feedback loops. Now, let's move on to the human-made world. Feedback loops have been crucial in the development of human-made systems, particularly in engineering and cybernetics. These fields have embraced the concept of feedback loops to create more efficient and effective systems. Did you know that this concept has been evolving for centuries, from early observations about the Earth's climate to the modern understanding of human-driven global warming? Let's take a look at some key milestones in this journey. First up, we have the 19th century, where we see the greenhouse effect come into play. In 1824, French scientist Joseph Fourier is often credited with first recognizing this phenomenon. He observed that the Earth's atmosphere traps heat from the sun, preventing it from escaping back into space. You know that cloud seeding, a technique designed to enhance precipitation by dispersing substances into clouds, has been around since the mid-20th century. That's right. It all started in the 1940s when American chemist Dr. Vincent J. Schaefer made a groundbreaking discovery. In 1946, Schaefer, working for General Electric, conducted a series of experiments that led to the development of cloud seeding. He found that when he introduced a chemical substance into a cloud, it would cause the cloud to rain. This discovery paved the way for the development of cloud seeding technology, which has continued to evolve with advances in meteorology and atmospheric science. So, there you have it. A brief history of cloud seeding, a fascinating technology that has been shaping our understanding of weather for decades.
This intriguing theory suggests that some trails left by aircraft in the sky are not just normal contrails condensation trails, but rather chemicals intentionally sprayed for various purposes. Now, this theory first gained traction in the mid-1990s and has since been widely discussed and debunked by scientists and experts, but it's still a topic that sparks curiosity and conversation. One of the key origins of this theory can be traced back to 1996, when the U.S. Air Force released a report titled Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. This report discussed weather modification techniques and their potential use in military operations. So, there you have it. A brief overview of the fascinating concept of chemtrails.
From the ancient Greeks to the 16th century, geocentrism was a widely accepted theory. It proposed that Earth was the center of the universe, with all celestial bodies, including the sun, planets, and stars, revolving around it. However, in the 16th century, the Copernican revolution came along, and we discovered that Earth actually orbits the sun. Moving on to the 17th century, the theory of spontaneous generation was widely accepted. It suggested that living organisms could arise from non-living matter, such as maggots emerging from rotting meat. But in the 19th century, Louis Pasteur disproved this theory with his experiments on sterilization. In the 19th century, phrenology was all the rage. It claimed that the shape and size of a person's skull could predict their personality traits and intelligence. However, modern neuroscience has debunked this theory. And finally, in the 20th century, the theory of eugenics was popular. It proposed that humans could improve their genetic makeup by selectively breeding certain populations. But this theory has been discredited due to its racist and harmful implications. So, there you have it, folks. A brief overview of some outdated theories that have shaped our understanding of the world. Remember, knowledge evolves, and it's essential to keep an open mind and embrace new ideas. You know that paradoxes have intrigued philosophers, scientists, and mathematicians for centuries. That's right. These enigmatic conundrums challenge established norms and provoke deeper thought. So, let's take a brief history lesson on some key paradoxes. First up, we have the ancient Greek paradoxes. These paradoxes, such as Zeno's paradoxes from the 5th century BCE, challenged notions of motion and plurality. For instance, in the famous Achilles and the tortoise paradox, Zeno argued that faster runners could never catch slower ones because they would have to infinite time to cover the same distance. Then we have the modern paradoxes, which were all about science and mathematics. These paradoxes, such as the twin paradox, challenged our understanding of time and space. Next, we have the Renaissance paradoxes, which were all about logic and language. We have the liar paradox, which was also attributed to Zeno and questions the truth of statements. This paradox asks, is this statement true or false? If it's true, then it's false, and if it's false, then it's true. Finally, we have the Sorites paradox, also known as the paradox of the heap. This paradox asks, how many grains of sand make up a heap? The answer, of course, is that it depends on your definition of a heap.
The quantum realm is vast and full of wonders waiting to be discovered. Thank you once again for your support. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more quantum adventures. Until next time, keep exploring and learning.